Setting yourself up for success can include all kinds of things, from making plans to the kind of tools you use to navigate life, from anxiety support tools to making communication adjustments. I like to listen to some calming music when I feel particularly overwhelmed. What things do you find useful if you are feeling anxious about something?
These days, I find it easier to take myself out for a walk when I get to a point where I've noticed that anxiety building up.
Thinking, what is the worst that can happen? Because a lot of things that might be overwhelming right now, it won't matter in 5 years' time or even a week from now.
Positive messages from family and friends that really help me when I'm kind of feeling quite down about myself.
Another thing that I like to do when I'm feeling particularly anxious is to go and lie down in my bedroom and just watch some kind of animated film, just something nice and simple I can either pay attention to or fall asleep to if I need to as well, because sometimes when I'm particularly anxious, I do just need to go and have a bit of a nap.
Do you find you struggle with communication? Do you have any useful strategies or tips that you use to support yourself?
When I was younger, I would find it really, really difficult to order for myself in a cafe, in a restaurant, because I found the experience of going up to the counter on my own and remembering a list of things to order very, very stressful.
Where I do a lot of remote work, it means a lot of emails and Teams messages are involved, and it's very hard to tell people's tones over emails. I struggle to work out in what kind of tone I should reply back to that as well.
Some ways that I help myself with communication is suggesting to go for a walk whilst I speak to people, suggesting why don't we go outside, why don't we go in this room, just to kind of make the environment optimal.
I like to be very kind of upfront and honest about communication and what my needs are, and that helps like kind of avoiding ambiguity and just, it also helps the other person with communicating what they want to communicate as well, rather than not communicating things and then not knowing.
I do quite like using emojis, and I know lots of people like using emojis, but I really like to include them in my texts and my messages and my emails as a way to show that this is the sentence, but it's lighthearted, so that I can get across as much meaning as I can in those written communications.
I know for myself, I can struggle with planning and organising. For example, I sometimes forget what I have planned in a day. So I set alarms to remind myself to get to the right location at the right time. How do you support yourself with your planning and organising needs?
One of the main ways that I support myself is using this online software where I can add all of my to-do lists, I can have sections for notes. I also make the most of my smart speakers in my house. So I will tell them when I need a certain item added to my shopping list. And then I have an app on my phone, which I can then take the phone with me to the supermarket and tick off those items that I've added to my shopping list via the smart speaker.
In my calendar, I have all the events that are happening through the coming weeks, days and months.
I think that really helps me just to think like, what have I got on this week? What do I need to do about that? Is there anything that I need to jiggle around or be particularly aware of?
One thing that I support myself when it comes to like kind of planning and organizing things is like, I know what works for me in terms of that. So in terms of making to-do lists, using Google Calendar, journaling, rather than just, trying a lot of new things and then it not working. It's kind of knowing what works for me and sticking to that.
If you could go back and talk to your younger self or tell others something, what would it be?
I would say, don't worry that other people around you are doing all these things like going to house parties or drinking or going off at the weekends and doing all these kind of social activities. Don't worry, you'll do things in your own time and you might be a little bit different, but you're surrounded by a close group of friends who do genuinely really like you and you'll be okay.
I think some really important advice that a parent of an autistic teenager could hear is that there is no set way that an autistic teenager is going to live their life or turn out. Just like every other person, everyone's going to turn out completely differently. Everyone has their own struggles and their strengths, and it's all just about accepting that and allowing them to live their lives in the way they want to.
There you have it. No matter what you want to achieve or be successful in, if you understand yourself and have ideas on how to support your needs in a way that suits and works for you, then you're setting yourself up for the best chance of success. Thanks for watching one of our videos in the Know Yourself series. See you soon.